7 marital truths no one ever told you. I am super excited to be back with you, and I believe that you're going to get it right in your marriage. Trust me, especially for those of you who are singles and you're not yet married. These are conversations we never have, right? But we're going to bring them to the front burner. There is nothing to worry about. For 20 years, I have been at the forefront of family systems across the globe, right? And you know that I'm regarded as one of the leading family life innovators across the world right now. Number 3 marital truth no one ever told you is that unequal yoke is being married to someone who doesn't believe your beliefs. It's amazing that I found it being taught on various platforms that an unbeliever is when Christian marries Muslims or when Buddhist marries, a Jew or something like that. I've had that consistently over time, all over my life, but I have keenly gone to the field to try, interview, study cross-religious marriages that work, right? Now, if you don't believe what I am saying, you don't have to accept it. But you know that you will be lying to yourself if you say to me that you have not observed cross-cultural, cross-religious or inter-religious marriages that work, because religion does not marry. Human beings are the ones that marry. So when they talk about unequal yoke, your mind goes back to the oxen and the plowing that the Jews used to do, right? Because before mechanized farming and maybe tech farming that we have right now, you have to, plow the field, and so you have to put yoke on the neck of the oxen. Now, if the oxen are not in sync, are not the same size, the same shape, there's likely going to be trouble, because then the grazing will not be properly, done, right? And that's why they always talk about equal yoke, right? Now, the problem you have here is that when people do not understand the concept of who an unbeliever is, they will assume that someone who doesn't belong to a religion is the unbeliever, when you can actually be in the same religion with someone else and you're both unbelievers to yourself. In the year 2018-2020, I used to work in Nigeria. Now, ideally, whenever there is domestic violence in Lagos State, because I was working as a consultant for the agency in charge of zero tolerance for domestic violence. God bless the soul of that. My sister, she's still there. Amazing. Titi Lola, doing amazing work. They would usually send some of the most troubled ones to my office. Now, I had created an assessment called culture compatibility test, because I figured out many years ago that the roots of domestic violence is usually gender inequality or culture incompatibility. And what we found out is, by the time we check the critical belief areas, especially as it concerns the Africans, we realize that oftentimes our beliefs are not compatible, because many of our men still want to get married to women who are like their mother, when the modern woman is not like their mother. Their mother sat at home, the mother woman is at work. So she's a professional. She's used to ironing, firing. She's used to leading in a complex environment. Now, by the time she comes back home, a lot of the husbands cannot deal. So these are the 10 areas that we usually question in culture compatibility tests. And you realize that by the time you run that assessment, a lot of people are falling short almost immediately. A man is superior to a woman, and every woman must submit to a man. Now, what do both of them believe? Do they agree or disagree? I believe a husband is superior to the wife. Do they agree or disagree? Is the duty of the woman to cook for the family? What do they believe? It's a real man must be able to be the breadwinner and must provide for his family. The concept of breadwinner is another ballgame entirely. We don't want to talk about that today. What do they believe? The man should have the final say on every matter, even including areas where he's not competent. What do they believe? Our family members must be able to come in anytime they like. Our family members are expected to walk in anytime they like, or they must give us prior notice. Now, a wife who questions her husband is disrespectful. What do they believe about this saying? It's not proper for a wife to earn more than her husband because she can become very proud, right? A man doesn't really need to disclose what he earns to his wife, and finally, a good man must be able to control and clip the wings of his wife. Now, these are 10 critical areas that we found are responsible for gender-based violence or domestic violence in marriages. But you realize that by the time we sit with couples and run them through this assessment, they have divergent views in this 10 critical area. Then you understand why the result of violence. Because once there is no beliefs alignment, both of them are unbelievers to themselves. It doesn't mean that they are bad. It just means that their culture is not compatible for each other. So what we do is beliefs alignment, which is a lot of work to now begin to say, what is the source of this belief? You know what we found out? Many of our beliefs are not our beliefs. Many of our beliefs were imposed beliefs subliminally by the people that raised us in our upbringing, by the environment we grew up in, and by the significant emotional experiences we have been through. Until there is beliefs alignment and congruence, I say to people, don't deal. And if you're listening to me, your marriage is in crisis, or you're in pain or something like that, you want to come in and let us coach you through, and let us even run a comprehensive assessment to know exactly where you are. You will realize that what is causing this argument, what is causing the crisis in your marriage, basically are beliefs incompatibility or culture incompatibility. And that is a critical issue that nobody talks about before marriage. So people just believe because we're Christians and we both speak in tongues, then we belong to the same culture. It's not true. Because religion steps on the culture it meets on ground, and that person or that religion becomes a cultural Christianity or cultural Islam or cultural Buddhism or whatever. And that is why before you make a deal in marriage or you get married to someone, you want to marry to someone who is a believer in your beliefs and who is an equal yoke with you. Because if he's an unbeliever to you, he may be a believer to someone else, right? And the person may actually love him. There are women who believe that they are inferior to men. They should marry men who believe they're superior to women, right? There are people who believe that women who believe that they are the only ones who should cook. They should marry men who believe that belief. There are men who believe everyone should cook. They should marry women who believe that belief. So you want to check. Don't just go into marriage with assumption or with your eyes wide open and take yourself into a marital cage. You want to check if there is beliefs alignment, because once you don't understand this, you will marry someone who doesn't believe your beliefs, and that will be an equal yoke, okay? I hope this has helped you. We will continue on the fourth marital truth no one ever told you when next I come. Have a fantastic day. Praise for where is signing up. Bye.